everyone. We are going to now this session's the first one we are going to working with the business process composer, and then the second one we will work with BPM Studio. Let's get started in 6-1. Again, the assumption here is that you have completed the exercise up to the point 51 and 52. The loan processor has been updated. So let's get started here. Step one is log into Composer as Mark Twain. As you can see, we indeed have done that. We are logged in the as a Mark Twain, and then of course it has a couple of questions here, and we can answer those questions by always. Let's get started with our written instructions. Place the cursor over the administrative space. There it is, and click edit space icon. There it is, and so we'll click on that. And our next step is to go ahead and click participant. Let's do that, and it brings up dialog box. All right, let's go to our next step here. The share window will open indeed. As we can see here, it asks who is owner of the space. Well, we can see the owner is Mark Twain. So enough, which users have viewing or editing privileges. So enough, J. Ashton is the viewer. Privileges in Mitch has editor permissions, and it says close the share, and so let's close the share. Next step, we want to look at the team member privileges for the loan application BPM project. Answer some questions again. Detailed instructions say go to the loan applications to open it up. So let's go down there and open it up. And usually uh, it loads within a few seconds. And there is a once it loading. So still it's loading. Once it's loading done, so you can see there is the home page. All right, back to our instructions. It says on the project home page, click the link next to the shared project. That's right up here, and it indeed has a link that shows you the number of users. So we'll click on that three users links, which brings up this dialog box, and we go back to our instruction. The team windows open. Who's the owner? We can see the M10 is also the owner of this one. Or which users have viewing and editing privileges? As you can see, same as we had at this space label. And so now we are going to do some additional task here. Step 3, change the privilege for this project to grant editing privilege to J. Ashton and answer the question. So the detailed instruction says that we need to select the J. Ashton rule, which I'm going to do now. And it says here we can click on change role. So indeed the change role button is enabled. Click the change role button, which will do. And we'll make a J. Ashton an editor. And we'll click OK. And now we can see that Justin is an editor, which was what we did. The answer is 2. You need to be editing a project to change privileges. Well, notice we're still viewing the project, so the answer is no. When you edit privileges for a product, can you add only team members? Well, there is no way to do that in here, and so indeed the answer is no. Are changes made at the project level reflected in the participant privilege for the space containing the project? No, because the just and back at the project level. It is still just a viewer. We just change it here at the project. So step D says close the team windows, which we'll do now. And let's move on to our next step 4. So it says as the Mark 10 users, let's ensure that application is open for viewing, but not open for editing. Open up separate private Firefox browser window. We are going to do that so we can be logging in as a different user, and we are going to ask some questions to see how it works when the collaboration works. So let's start here with the details instructions here, and later so in our browser we are going to go to file new private window, and it let's again notice right now Mark Twain has got this open for viewing. We are opening up another window, and private window allow us to bring up another browser session without using the same cookies as we had before. And it says we need to go to the application, log in as JS10 users. So let's go ahead and go to the composer and log in as JS10. Remember, welcome one was the password for everybody, and we can see her up here logged in. Let's answer some of our questions here. So we can click the loan application and we can open it for editing. Let's go ahead and do that. So once so now we have got two different user logged in. Notice over here on the right it says if I click on there that JS10 is viewing, and M10 is also viewing. But what were our instructions? Our instructions say let's go ahead and log in and open it for editing. So in order to open it for editing, I get as I have done, I click on there a little pencil as an editor. Now I can see that indeed see has got editing rights, and I'm trying to simply just doing. All right, moving on here, it says, and we have already done this. Click the currently watching user list, and indeed we saw the J Ashton was editing and Martin was viewing. Questions: can J Ashton users see who else is currently viewing or editing the projects? The answer is yes, we saw that. Next question: what while the J Ashton user has the project open for editing, and the MTN users, the owner of the project, view it, edit, and see who's currently editing the project. And so let's go take a look. The answer says, well, he can view it and he could see who's editing, but he can't edit the project itself because it's been locked in our point of editing. Let's verify that by going over to our other browser. This is the one with Mark Twain, and indeed, notice what happens when Mark Twain tries to get at edit session. It says you can't go there. It has been locked by Justin. So indeed, I can go to the loan application and I can view it, but I can only stay in viewing mode, looking at the process or whatever. I can't make any edit changes. I can't get an edit session. Back at the just user. On the other hand, she can because she is an editing session. That's what we wanted to learn through here. Number five, as the just user closed loan application without making any changes and release the lock and answer some questions here. Once again, we will go go to the next page, starting with the details. And we'll close project and show that the release log checkbox is selected. So we are going here to close. Let's close that tab and then close the project. If we release the lock, then let's move on. It says right at this point after the JS10 users closes the application, release lock, and the Mark Twain users open the project for editing. Well, let's go over and find out. Let's see, can I open this for editing? Sure enough, I just did it. So the answer is of course yes, because the lock has been released. Would you answer to the first question, James, if the Austin user had not released the lock? And I think we could all agree. So if C doesn't release the lock, then obviously we can't acquire it, even though he's the owner. Move on to the number six, as the Austin user log out of the composer and close that browser window. Let's go ahead and do that again. Get the Austin user, let's log out and let's close that browser session. All right. 7. The Mark Twain users view the latest changes to the project and answer the following question. Has anyone other than Mark Twain users published changes to the project? Here is our details instructions. How can we find out? Well, on the project homepage, examine the recent activity. Fine. Let's go to the main homepage, project homepage, and there's our recent activity. And we can see there creating the project was Mark Twain. Creating the initial version, Mark Twain completed practice 5-2. Mark Twain, any comments? Your might be slightly different depending on what you wrote and how often you did publish. Let's go back our instructions here. Has anyone other than Mark Twain published changes? We just saw the answer was no. Are there an published change? The answer is no. Now step 8, using the latest published version of the loan application, create a snapshot and name it a loan app version 1. And again, we'll go down to our detailed instruction. So in the recent activity pane, we are going to click on snapshots. And here we go, snapshots. And now our step says click the signs and enter loan app version 1. Let me go ahead and copy that so I can paste that into that box at the right time. And we'll click on there and we'll name it that. And I'm not sure if we are giving that description or not. Let's see. Well, uh, it doesn't say it says provide a description. So let's do that. The version contains one process. Nothing of it doesn't really matter what you have typed here. And mm, this version contains one process. That's enough. It doesn't really matter what you type here. And we click on save, and it's been saved. And we see who has saved it at that time. It was saved the timestamp. All right, moving back to the instructions here. Close the snapshot window, which we are going to do now. And then now that the snapshot has been created, step 9 says click the close project to the close project and then release the lock. And it gives instructions if the lock isn't released. Let's see if we can do that. So we'll go to close project and release the lock and see. Uh, if the lock gets released. Okay, and sure enough it does, and that takes us to the end of this session. Thank you.